Okay, so yesterday we talked about classifying matter, and we watched a video about it, and we've already gone over the vocabulary, and you have those on your note cards, right?
Yeah.
So what are on your note cards?
Gas, magnetism, liquid, mass, solid, density, and temperature.
Okay, awesome. So we went over all of our vocabulary words. So those are the words that you're going to see in here. So what I would like you to do is I want you to preview the text. Preview means that you're going to look at it, and you're not going to read every single word, but you are going to pay attention to the headings. This one is the heading. You're going to look at bolded words, and you're going to look at the photograph. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to look at that, and then we're going to talk about what you think it's going to be about. Pass that to you. So you're just kind of looking at the bolded words. Some of the words you might recognize as our vocabulary words.
I'm done.
Okay. So what do you think this is going to be about? Like, why do you think we're going to read this? Yusuf?
To go over our vocabulary words and go study deeper about it.
Okay. So, okay, let me refine the question. What do you think you're going to learn about? Not just the vocabulary words, but what do you think you're going to learn about? Think of like what the heading says. What do you think, Oliver? Okay. So let's turn that heading into a question. So the heading is classifying matter. Everybody say classifying matter.
Classifying matter.
Okay, so how can we turn that heading into a question about what we're going to learn about? So for instance, everybody look at me. If the heading said tigers, I might say, what am I going to learn about tigers? Or if the heading said, like, firefighters helping people, I might say, what am I going to learn about how firefighters help people? So if ours says classifying matter, how can we turn that into a question about what we're going to learn about? Like, what does
classifying matter mean?
Good job. Yeah, exactly. Yusuf, what does classifying matter mean? Good. Okay.
Or what is classifying matter?
Yeah, or what is classifying matter? Exactly. So, I want you to turn and talk with your partner. What do you think you're going to learn about classifying matter? What do you think that's going to mean for you? So, Christy, you talk to Oliver. Yusuf, you talk to Anthony. And Mustafa, you talk to me.
So classifying matter. Yeah. So
Mustafa, so what do you think it's going to mean? What do you think it's going to mean? Okay. What were some of the vocabulary words?
So it was gas. Mass.
Okay. So you think it's going to have to do with the vocabulary words?
Temperature.
Yeah, a little and some more.
Okay. Class.
Yes, yes.
Class, oh, class.
Yes, oh, yes.
Okay, so now we're going to read the text, and we're going to stop on words that we may not know so that we know what they are. Okay, so go ahead and look at page 1.
Okay.
And so it says, Henry, so class. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the text, and when I pause on a word, I want you to read that word out loud. Okay? So put your finger on the word Henry.
Henry.
Okay. Henry had a splashing battle with his
Sister.
in the pool. It was so warm outside in the sun that the water drops dried from his skin within
Minutes.
When he got out of the pool, he was happy his mom put ice cubes in his
Lemonade.
6 months
Later.
Henry was making snow angels in his
Backyard.
When it got too cold, he went into his warm
House.
His mom gave him a
Mug.
of steaming hot.
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
There we go. Each time, Henry had fun with
Playing. Water.
water. Even though the seasons were different, Henry enjoyed water in all three of its physical states: solid, liquid, and
Gas.
Good. So, what were the three states of matter that Henry enjoyed so far? Anthony? Okay, good. Solid, liquid, and gas. When did he enjoy those? Like, when did he enjoy solid? When did he enjoy liquid? And when did he enjoy gas? Mustafa?
In summer, he enjoyed liquid.
Uh-huh. How did he enjoy liquid?
By swimming.
By swimming in the pool. Good. How else did he enjoy a solid, a liquid, or a gas? Yusuf?
He enjoyed a gas in the winter by steaming hot chocolate because
Yep.
steam is a gas.
Exactly, yeah, steam is a gas. And then what about solid? How did he enjoy a solid? Anthony? What did he enjoy in his glass that was solid?
Ice cube.
Yeah, the ice cubes. Good job.
Also, the snow.
Yep, the snow.
The snow is actually water, but water frozen up in order to be, you could feel it.
Yeah,
So it wouldn't get out of your hands even quicker than water.
right. Okay, so go ahead and put your finger on the word how.
How?
How did Henry enjoy solid water during the summer? How about during the winter? How did Henry enjoy water as a liquid and a gas during each season? To answer these questions, you need to know the differences between solid, liquids, and gases. So what are the differences between solid, liquids, and gases? Remember that everything you see around you, including yourself, is a form of what? A form of?
Ass.
No, not mass. Look at your paper.
Matter.
Matter. So who's made of matter?
You. Everybody.
Everybody.
Everything.
Are animals made of matter?
The computer.
Yep, everything's made of matter.
The telephone.
So it says solid when the particles, everybody put your finger on the word solid.
Solid.
Solid when the particles that make up an object are so
Close
together they cannot
Move around.
move around. Liquid when the particles that make up an object are so
Close.
together but they can still move or slide around each.
Other.
Okay, so solid and liquid, they're both really close together, but a solid can't move around, but a liquid can, right? Okay, put your finger on that word gas. Gas, when the particles that make up an object are completely separate so they can bounce around. So that's why it kind of goes into the air. So they're not close together, they're spread apart.
What if they
Right?
do get close together?
Then what probably happens?
Air.
No?
Bad things.
If a gas goes
Tornado.
close together, then it
Solid.
might turn into a solid or it might turn into a liquid. Yeah, good job. Good question, Mustafa.
Because a cloud is a gas, but
Right?
but once it falls,
It turns into a,
liquid.
yeah. Excellent. Okay,
It's
go
kind
ahead
of
and
a
put your finger
cycle.
on the word when.
Wind.
When we think of water, we usually think of it as a liquid. However, water can also be a solid or a,
Gas.
when water is a,
Ice.
no, when water is a,
Solid.
it is called,
Ice.
when water is a,
Gas.
it is called,
Water vapor.
okay, so that's what Yusuf was just saying. He was like, a cloud is gas, but what do we call it when it's in a cloud? What did they just tell us it's called?
Water vapor.
Water vapor. The table on the next page shows water in every state of matter. Okay, so let's look at that table. So go ahead and turn the page. It's on the back of your page.
Solid, liquid, gas.
Okay, so it says solid has its own
Shake.
that does not,
Change.
and it does not
Move.
move. So unless you move a solid, it's just going to stay there, right?
It's gonna stay in like in one piece unless you break it.
Yes. Or unless it
No.
melts, exactly. Good. And then there's liquid. Liquid takes the shape of the part of the container it fills. So Anthony, what's a container? Look at that picture. What's a container?
The containers for like put something.
Yeah, it's something that holds something, right?
Yeah, kind of like a pot where you make food in,
Right.
or a vase where you have flowers in.
Right. Okay, and then it says gas or water vapor. So those are the same thing. Gas and water vapor are the same thing. It expands. Can everybody show me how their belly expands? Make your belly expand. Okay. Now suck in your belly. Now it's contracting. So expand. Retract. Expand. Retract. So that's expanding when it sticks out like that. So expand to fill the entire container it is in. So it moves easily in all directions. So when it's a solid or a liquid, it's going to be kind of contracted and it's going to be contained. But when it's a gas, it's going to go all over the place and it can't be contained. All right, put your finger on that word remember. Remember Henry's summer fun? The pool water was a liquid. The ice in his lemonade was a...
Solid.
What was a...
Yeah.
Ooh, this one might be a little bit harder. This is a little trickier. When Henry got out of the pool to have lunch, he was covered with water.
Raw.
They dried quickly in the hot...
Sunlight.
Did they disappear? No, they
Evaporated.
What does evaporated mean? Somebody besides Yusuf. What is evaporated? So it says there was water droplets on him, and then they evaporated. Have you ever done that? Like where you've gone out swimming, and then there's water all over you, and then you sit in the sun? What happens to the water?
It dries.
It dries up, so that's called evaporation. Everybody say evaporation.
Evaporated.
Yeah, so that's when the sun heats up that water and it evaporates. Does it disappear forever?
No.
No, it turns
makes
into a...
cloud. It makes a cloud and it's
Before it turns into a cloud, it
Water
turns into
vapor.
water vapor, and then it goes up in the...
It creates a cloud, which is condensation.
It goes up
Then
in
it
the sky and makes a cloud.
Then it
Right.
makes precipitation, which makes
Okay,
it fall.
Yusuf, thank you. So, Christy, so when that water droplet is on you, and it starts drying, it doesn't disappear, it turns into water vapor, so it's like a gas. So it dries off of you, and then it goes up into the air, and eventually goes into the cloud. And then the cloud is eventually going to rain. And then it's going to start all over again. Oliver, does that make sense?
Is when
Okay.
clouds get
So we are on where it says look out. Everybody say look out.
Look out.
Look out.
Is sand a liquid? That's a good question. After all, we can pour sand from a bucket. We can fill a container with sand. But in fact, sand is thousands of solids. Each kernel of sand is like a very small rock. It cannot be molded. It does not lose its shape. So even though it kind of looks and feels like liquid, it's not. It's not. It's lots of little tiny rocks.
Yeah, but it's a rock that. Even though you added water,
Right.
it's a rock.
So what properties tell us if an object is a solid, liquid, or...
Gas.
Each object has its own properties that do not change. For example, water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. So in Fahrenheit, that's when it's 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, something freezes. But scientists use something called Celsius. It's kind of a more scientific way of measuring temperature, and water freezes at 0. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. So when you put that water on the stove, it has to be 100 degrees Celsius in order to start boiling,
100 or
where those
more?
bubbles pop up. Every object will freeze and become a solid at certain temperatures. Every object will boil and become a liquid or gas at another temperature. So anything can become a liquid and anything can become a gas. If you leave a chocolate bar in the backseat of a hot car, it will turn into a brown puddle of goo after a while.
Ew.
Because of this, we say that temperature is a property of an object. So we were talking about earlier that temperature is a way that you can classify matter. So you can classify these these things will boil at this temperature, or these things will boil at this temperature, or these things will freeze at this temperature. So even though water freezes at 0, not every single solid is going to freeze at 0. Some might need to be colder, right? Okay, so we are going to go ahead and stop here, and then we're going to pick up tomorrow, and we're going to continue talking about properties of matter. Thank you guys. I will see you tomorrow.